Remember this? Yeah, 2016. Back when the idea of a sandworm erupting from the desert wasn't gameplay, it was mythology. A beautiful, choreographed fever dream. Star Citizen showed us something bold. And people point out how it was faked footage, but let's be honest. They didn't have the systems, the tech, or the bandwidth to actually make it happen in-game. It was smoke and mirrors and just enough hope to keep us staring at the screen. And you know what? We still ate it up, because the vision was electric. We saw a ship descend onto a harsh, barren planet. A warning goes off in the cockpit, atmospheric disturbance. Forced to land, the pilot pops the ramp, rolls out a rover, and pushes through the desert towards a distress beacon. Pirates, chaos, wreckage, and then, boom, Sandworm straight out of Space Dune. It was raw, glitchy. Half the scene was held together with spit and optimism, but it lit a fire in the community, a promise that planets would matter. Transversal would be layered, and those fancy rovers and buggies they wanted to sell us, you'd actually need them. And then, for years, that vision just sat on the shelf, collecting dust. But now, patch 4.2 is cracking that promise wide open. At last year's CitizenCon, that old vision got dusted off and dragged back into the light. Sandworms, dynamic weather, but this time it wasn't concept art and dev speak. This time they had the tech, and more importantly, the systems to actually pull it off. The thing that struck with me most during that presentation, it wasn't the sandworm bursting out of the ground, it wasn't the storms or the lightning. Impressive looking, sure, but it was more than that. It was the devs themselves. You could hear it in their voices, the way they talked about how quickly the worm was coming together, how they didn't want to lose momentum on development. It wasn't corporate hype, that was passion. And if you've ever worked in a creative team, you know when the people building the thing actually care about it, you feel it in the final product. And what a product it's shaping up to be. Now we're seeing that passion pay off. Patch 4.2 doesn't just tease the future, it unleashes it. We're finally getting something both brutal and beautiful. Dynamic weather. Gone are the postcard perfect skies over Microtech, but you cruise in, lazy and unbothered, to drop off cargo like it's Sunday brunch at Nana's. Now, you're flying into storms, towering thunderheads, needle-sharp rain, and lightning that absolutely does not care how much you spent on your fancy ship. The roadmap calls it dynamic rain, but let's be honest, it's just a polite way of saying if you fly through this, you're gonna have a bad time. And the early reports from the patch, they're looking great and lethal. This B-roll is from leaked Evocati gameplay, and you can already see how it's taking shape. Additionally, data mining has found that lightning strikes can knock out your ship's power plant. After that, it's just you, gravity, and whatever luck you have left on the insurance policy. Sign me up. Maybe we'll actually see a reason to use those ejection seats. But weather? That's just the opening act. Now let's talk radiation. Yeah, that lovely new system rolling out in 4.2, radiation zones. Not just a little spicy area, I'm talking about full-on, bone-baking, blood-screaming, organ-cooking hellholes scattered across planetary surfaces and station wreckage alike. These aren't places you stroll through, they're places you survive. It doesn't matter if you're a bounty hunter, a miner chasing Quantanium, or some smuggler hoping to sneak through a crater unnoticed. Walk into one of these zones without the right gear and you're gonna learn real fast what the word fry means. Enter the Sterling Exploration Suit. Yeah, it's big, it's ugly, it looks like someone duct taped a nuclear submarine to your torso. But when the Geiger counter on your helmet's ticking like a time bomb, you'll thank every credit you spent on it. This is the first real piece of environmental survival gear we've seen, and you can bet it won't be the last, because radiation, it's not just a mechanic, it's a message. It's telling you, you're not safe because your shift landed. These zones aren't just dangerous though, they're foreshadowing. They're the warm-up act for what's coming in Pyro, starbursts, gamma pulses, solar flares that don't ask what ship you're flying, they just disable it. Imagine EVAing in the middle of a salvage mission and suddenly your suit's alarm goes off. Sunburst inbound. No cover, no time, and you're about to become space jerky. This is the devs laying the groundwork for a very different kind of Star Citizen. Not just ships and guns, not just sandbox, now the sandbox bites back. And if you're not ready for it, you won't make it to the mission, let alone through it. If ground vehicles are your thing, this is it. The moment. For years, ground vehicles were just hangar candy. Good for screenshots, fun to roll around in for 5 minutes before getting bored. I mean, they looked cool, but they didn't matter. I melded most of mine ages ago, kept the ones with med beds because hey, redundancy is sexy. The rest? Glorified garage clutter. Why bother driving when your ship could fly, hover, park, and deliver all in one package? But now, they're your ticket forward. When lightning grounds your ship, when a storm rolls in and turns the sky into soup, when radiation scrambles your HUD and fries your nav systems, you don't fly, you don't wait, you don't hope, you drive. Patch 4.2 isn't buffing ground vehicles, it's redefining them, turning them from collectibles to tools of survival. The Ursa's back on the front line. The Cyclone isn't just for stunts anymore and a once-a-year Daymar rally. The Grey Cat MTC, it's looking like a smart buy. Even the Storm, the little tank with a chip on its shoulder, is finally living up to its name. And that new Argo combat suit? We'll get to that, but not today. But what matters is this. The gameplay loop we've been dreaming of for years, it's not theoretical anymore. It's not on the slide at CitizenCon. It's in motion. You fly, you land, you drive, you fight, you adapt. Not because a mission told you to, but because the world is forcing your hand. Because if you don't adjust to the storm, to the terrain, to the hazards breathing down your neck, you don't make it. This is what emergent gameplay really means, and for the first time, it's finally here. The systems are talking to each other. This is what we've been waiting for. Not just another shiny ship, not a checklist of half-implemented features, not tech for tech's sake. This is system syncing, gameplay loops locking into place, the machine finally turning under its own power. You can feel it now. The weather forces you out of the sky, the radiation tells you to suit up or shut down, terrain doesn't care what your thruster to weight ratio is if you don't have the wheels, you're not going. And the mission? It's not holding your hand, it's just pointing you at the storm and saying, go figure it out. It's not one patch doing all the heavy lifting, it's everything coming online at once. Like flipping breakers on a warship, watching the lights surge back to life. That's the magic, and it's finally happening. This is the moment where the old guard, the ones who sat through every keynote, who lived through delays, rewrites, reworks, reimagined pipelines, the ones who clung to every soon like it was gospel, we get to lean back, just for a second, crack a grin, and say, yeah, this is what we backed. Now don't get me wrong, it's not all sunshine and smooth landings. Rovers will probably still fall through planets, suits will still clip through airlocks. You'll still get 30k'd 2 feet from the outpost with your cargo full and your soul half broken. But when it works, when the pieces click, and hopefully they will, it's next level. Because when you're hunkered down in a rover, storm howling like a banshee on the other side of your canopy, and your scanner's flickering, your nav data's fried, and your only way forward is into a valley soaked in radiation and crawling with hostiles, and the mission doesn't hand you a plan, it hands you chaos and tells you to survive, that's not just gameplay. That's Star Citizen becoming the game we were promised. And some of us, we've been waiting a damn long time to see it happen. And look, I haven't even talked about the Sandworm yet. We'll get to that in another video. That beast deserves its own spotlight. But here's the thing. For the first time in a long time, Star Citizen is giving me something I didn't expect. Appreciation. Not cautious optimism, not hype flavored with regret, not maybe next year. Actual earned appreciation. Because right now, CIG is delivering. The patches this year, they've been on point. The cadence, the polish, the way core systems are actually being built out and making it into the game. It's a different CIG than the one we've known for the last decade. Monthly updates, real ones. Systems that don't just live in dev blogs, but in your hands on live servers with gameplay tied to them. That's not just a shift in momentum, that's a turning point. So if I sound hyped, it's because I am. Not because of what might come someday, but because of what's playable right now. The game's finally starting to feel like the game, and I am absolutely here for it.